A large storm will be coming to the United States next week, and this is going to bring the return of severe weather to areas in the central and southern plains, and perhaps even back through the Midwest, and it will also bring a lot of rainfall for those that desperately need rain, and in addition to that, we are expecting colder temperatures to usher in behind that with some nice fall weather returning. So let's begin with what's happening across the United States right now, and for the time being, things are really nice, I would say, for most of the lower 48. The only exception really being back over in the Pacific Northwest, where we do have an atmospheric river event occurring this weekend that is going to be dumping a few more inches of rain throughout the morning across parts of Oregon and also back through Washington. But for the remainder of the lower 48, we are seeing nothing but really just sunny skies, only a few clouds out there. As we go into next week, though, that's going to change, as we are going to see that large storm enter into the United States, and the tropics for now look fantastic. We don't really have much happening. There is some convection back over in the Western Caribbean Sea, but for the time being, things look nice. We might see some development in early November back over in the Caribbean Sea, but for right now, things are quiet. As we go into next week, we are going to see a large weather pattern change occur, which is going to bring probably several different large storms as we go into November. And so let's check out the jet stream. This kind of gives us an idea of the weather patterns that are happening across the United States. You'll notice right now the jet stream is lifted very far off to the north, basically meaning that all the cold air that's associated with fall and winter is all back up in Canada right now. We haven't really seen much of that enter into the United States recently. As we go into next week, though, things are going to start to change. You'll notice this large dip in the jet stream on the west coast as we go into Monday. This is going to be our first of probably several large storms as we go into the end of October and eventually into November, and this is going to be the first one to watch for as we go into the early and middle portions of next week across the Great Plains and then eventually going towards the Midwest. Here's the deal with this storm. I don't think this is going to be a huge, robust, severe weather maker. I do think that there will be some severe weather, which we'll break down in a moment, but I don't think this is going to bring a multi-day severe weather outbreak. I don't think we're seeing a moderate or high risk or something like that out of this particular storm. However, as we go later into the November timeframe, so into like the first week of November, we are likely to see more large storms. You'll see it here on the GFS model, indicating at least one, if not maybe even several different large storms as we go into the first couple of weeks of November. So I honestly think our weather is going to get very active as we go into November, but at least for the next week or so, it is going to get a little bit more active. But I think this is just kind of like the appetizer to what we're actually going to see in the month of November. Talking a little bit more, though, about this system as we go into this upcoming week, again, we're not really going to see the most organized trough. It will bring the potential for severe weather, I think, Tuesday through Thursday, and this southwesterly flow will also help to organize some of those thunderstorms as we go into both Tuesday, Wednesday, and even into Thursday. And then eventually by next weekend, things will probably taper down just for a couple or maybe even a few days before we likely see our next big storm sometime the following week. So that'll be what we're watching for after then. So let's break down the future radar, kind of give you an idea of the day-by-day breakdown for the next few days and show you where the severe weather potential will end up being. This is what we're looking at for Saturday and Sunday, so this weekend. Really not much happening. High pressure dominating most of the eastern tier of the United States. However, the atmospheric river event will continue to bring a few inches of rain to areas in California, Oregon, Washington, and even a little bit of snow back over in the higher elevations and also back into southwestern Canada. As we go into Monday into Tuesday, that is when things start to get a little bit more interesting. A little bit of rain maybe in the Midwest and the Great Lakes on Monday. Some snow will start to filter into parts of the Rocky Mountains Monday into Tuesday. Eventually, as we go later into Tuesday, that is when we're going to start to see that trough ejection right over the Rocky Mountains. We'll start to see some showers and even some snow showers back up in parts of North Dakota and South Dakota and also back through the Rockies Tuesday into Wednesday. And eventually, as we go later into Wednesday, this will probably be our first main day to watch for some severe weather. For the time being, the GFS model showing mostly just showers across the board from the Midwest back through the Central Plains. I do think, though, we're going to see at least some severe weather. The better shot for that, at least for Wednesday right now, will be parts of the Central Plains, so like Kansas, Missouri, and even parts of Oklahoma. Might even see a little bit in the Midwest, but I think moisture is going to be a problem. As we go into Thursday, we're going to see that move to the east, and we might see another round of severe weather on Thursday, perhaps perhaps back down in the lower Mississippi Valley, maybe the southern plains, but at least for the time being, it looks to be more of a rainmaker over severe weather. It just does not seem to be the most organized trough that we're going to see this, at least this fall. And then as we go into the weekend, things start to dry out again. We'll probably see another storm sometime next weekend into the early following week, but at least for right now, things remain pretty uncertain there. The GFS model shows a much more organized trough over 10 days from now, which is hard to forecast for the record, but this will definitely be something that could produce more of a severe weather outbreak if we were able to see that. And then eventually by the end of next week, again, things are very uncertain by then. But at least for the time being, it looks like this storm that's upcoming is going to bring more of rain than severe weather. So we're not talking about a major concern here, but definitely something to watch for in case we do see this become a little bit better organized on the models as we get closer. Here's what we're looking at in terms of the supercell composite. Kind of gives you an idea of where there could be some supercells, maybe some severe weather. This is what it looks like for Tuesday. So maybe a conditional risk back over in Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas. I think a better shot for any severe weather this upcoming week will be Wednesday. That'll mostly be from about Iowa and Illinois back into parts of Oklahoma, maybe even down into Texas. And then by Thursday, really not much left for instability or even the potential for supercells, aside from maybe Texas. And even then, it looks like it would be a very conditional risk. And I also want to point out another problem with the setup as we go into this upcoming week. This is the hodographs, which gives you an idea of essentially the wind direction and speed as we go throughout the atmosphere from the surface all the way up to the troposphere. The reason why this is important is because it can indicate if we're going to have rotating supercells. And for Wednesday, which looks to be the main day of next week, we're not really seeing a whole lot of curvature here in these hodographs. We need to see stuff that's a lot more curved. We're really not seeing that across the central plains. So I think overall, severe weather this week is possible. I just don't think we're going to see a full-blown outbreak, mostly a wind and hail threat, maybe even a low-end tornado risk. This is really the best thing that's going to come out of all of this will be the rain. Look at how much rain we're going to see as we go into this upcoming week. This is by Friday, so notice all that green and purple and blue. That indicates anywhere from 1/10 of an inch of rain all the way up maybe closer to 1 to 2 inches of rain. And right now we are dealing with over 50% of the country, or around 45% of the country, with a drought. So we definitely need this rain, especially for those in the Great Plains in the Midwest. Even the Ohio Valley probably at least going to get a little bit of rain. It might not be a lot, but it's at least something that'll help out. And look at this back over, by the way, in the Pacific Northwest. Many areas getting between 3 to 6 inches of rainfall. That is, again, because of the atmospheric river event that's going to be taking place. Temperatures for the next week or so looking to be mostly above average, at least for the early to mid portion of this week. Colder air will usher in by Thursday and a Friday. It's not going to be a big difference, but it will feel a bit more typical for this time of the year from the Midwest back through the southern plains. And then by the weekend, things are going to start to warm right back up again to where they have been for the last couple of weeks. And just a little quick update on the tropics. We aren't expecting any development over the next few days. However, as we go into early November, we still think that there could be a tropical cyclone attempting to develop around Halloween or just after Halloween. And if this does develop, it will be a threat more than likely to the greater Antilles. So those will be areas to watch for in early November. After that, if this does actually develop and become something like a hurricane, which is what our current thinking is we're at least going to see some sort of tropical storm or even a hurricane develop in the Caribbean Sea, this could end up becoming some sort of maybe impactful threat to areas like Cuba, but it also could make it as far north as areas like Florida. I'm not saying we're going to see a tropical storm or hurricane in Florida, but this is still something we'll have to watch for as we go into the first couple of weeks of November. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We'll continue to keep you posted with the latest. If anything does end up developing out of this situation, I would say right now it's like a 15% chance that this actually goes towards Florida and is something meaningful, but it is still a chance, and it is definitely still something we'll have to watch for. And you might notice behind me, we've actually had a 500,000 subscriber hat behind me the entire time. These hats are only available for 5 more days, so if you want to pick one up, it's at shopmaxvelocity.net. It is the top link in the description below. We do actually have one signed hat right now available. The reason why is because we had a refund since these hats took forever to come in, but they are now officially being shipped out this upcoming week, so if you want to pick one up, it's the top link in the description below. Aside from that, we have a t-shirt, our other hats that are not signed, mug, and sticker available for 500,000 subscribers. Again, this is one of your last chances to do so. Top link in the description below or at shopmaxvelocity.net.